All right. So, did the cook-off, and I'm not sure exactly what happened. I learned a lot. I really did. I really, really learned a lot. I'm pretty sure I did not win from what I heard, and I have some suspicions as to why. One, the last ingredient before I did the last 45, 50 minutes of cooking while it was at work in our break room. And the wife and I went to have some lunch at Buffalo Wild Wings. Why it was supposed to finish cooking in that time frame in my Instapot. The beans, for whatever reason, despite having soaked them for 12 plus hours and cooking them for bringing them to a hard boil for 6-7 minutes and then letting them simmer for like another hour while I got everything else together, and then cooking in the Instapot for the 30 minutes prior to going to work, and then another 45-50 minutes while at work. Somehow, for some insane reason, they did not cook all the way 100%. And since bringing back what was left back home this morning, Sunday morning, because the cook-off was yesterday, Saturday, I have tweaked it a little bit and added a little bit more meat, added a little bit more sauce and stuff to just create more of the same chili. And it's still, after another hour and a half of cooking, I'm just now getting these beans to be the right texture, the right amount, 90 to 100% cooked the way that they need to be. So these beans, whatever beans I bought, they're just red kidney beans, but they took forever to cook. It blows my mind how long it took them to cook. So after the fact, I'm wishing that and realizing that I should have gone ahead and not worried about using dry beans and starting off with dry beans. I should have just gotten them in the can. I just should have gotten them in the can. I doubt the difference between using dry beans versus canned beans. I doubt that would have made that much of a difference in taste. I feel like it's worth making sure that they are fully cooked and have the right texture, and that they complete the meal as they're supposed to, or complete the dish. And of course, it's Saturday. Oh, I got my damn days mixed up. I just realized it's Saturday because the Georgia game's on. I'm watching college football today, and so Friday was yesterday. Friday was the cook-off competition. So, for one, I think that hurt me was that the beans were not done properly all the way to the right texture. The next thing that I feel hurt me was I added water, and I added just a splash more of the whiskey, of the flavored whiskey, before I got it going. So I added probably about 2.5 cups of water, and then probably about a quarter cup of whiskey, and got it going with that. But then I also added, and I actually added it when I got there, because we did a taste test before we put it in the car, the wife and I did, and we're like, it needs just a little more spice, and she's like, did you put cayenne pepper? And I was like, shit, that's what I forgot. I forgot to put a bit of cayenne pepper. And so I did that when we got, I just brought the thing of cayenne pepper with me, and we put that in when I got it into work. So, yeah, after the fact, I realized that the amount of cayenne pepper I put in made it nice and spicy, like full spice bodied. For me, I didn't overdo it, but I can see that for some people, like my wife, who's not that big on spice, doesn't like a whole lot of spice. She felt like it was just a little too much, that I put just a little too much. I didn't put much, but she still says I put a little too much. She said I needed it, but I overdid it on the cayenne pepper. So I don't know. That's always, from what I hear from everybody that makes chili, that's always the tricky challenge, is to get that perfect amount of spice when you're trying to please people who don't like spice and please people who do like a lot of spice. So that's always a tough one. And I realize that makes it really difficult when you're doing a cook-off challenge where you're comparing yours to X number of other pots of chili. Is you're going to get people who want... How many people tasting yours and tasting the competitions are hard spice people, and how many of them are no spice people? So I mean that it's all, is a determining factor. So the biggest thing that I learned, and I should have known, and I feel like this was probably the bigger failure of me not winning first place. Again, I believe I was beat by the one other person by a little bit. I was told by the store manager that the votes were extremely close, that the chilies were all very, very well done, but I believe I was beat by the person who had hers set up by itself on a table with chips and whatever around it, and her table was the one that also had all the serving, the sampling cups and the napkins and silverware and all that. So she got to have her pot in the centerpiece table that had all the things that you needed to get your chili. So I mean, her chili was probably, if with four total contestants and probably about 60, somewhere between 65 and 85 people who tasted or tested. There's the question of how many people tasted all 4 chilies before they voted. And because of the fact that we had just a small countertop, the small table, and the freaking TV stand, which is where my pot ended up having to be put with somebody else's. How many times was my pot neglected or not seen as an option for taste testing? So that's the one of the other concerns. Because I reached this conclusion because when I got there this morning, mid-morning, around 10:30, to get my pot and all my stuff back, everybody else's pots and dishes utensils were washed and sitting on the counter by the sink, except for mine. My Instapot was there, but the pot that the chili's cooked in that goes inside the Instapot, that was the only one that got placed at some point yesterday in the fridge with my little glass dishes that I had shredded the cheese. Mine was the only one that was not completely eaten and had leftovers, and my pot was placed in the fridge. And I gotta say, not only did my pot have leftovers in it, but only about half of my chili was eaten. I still had almost somewhere between 40 and 50% of what I had made was still in the pot. So that really upset me. I mean, I say it really upset me. It's upset me because I feel like I lost votes because of, one, where I had to place my pot. Presentation is everything with competition, right? You get noticed the better your presentation is, the better your setup is. You go to a craft fair or festival and you set up a booth that you're selling something. Your presentation can make and break your sales. And so because of unfair presentation format of where they had us set everything up in our break room, I feel like my chili got neglected because of lack of presentation and where it was located. I feel it got neglected. And then two, and I should have known better on this, so it's my own fault. It's my own fault. And I'm doing my best to be humble about it and take it as a learning experience. Number two is I cooked it in the Instapot because I love our Instapot. I love how you can typically cooked pretty much everything in it. Instead of what a slow cooker or crock pot would take, say 4 hours to cook something in, you can do it in 2.5 hours. Like, you knock off almost 35 to 40% of your cooking time using an Instapot versus a crock pot or a slow cooker. So that's why I use the Instapot. But we have a crock pot. We have a slow cooker crock pot that has the traditional glass lid. And whereas the Instapot has a solidly covered lid, like you can't see, it's not glass, you can't see into it, what's in it. And it's this, twist on lock-in so that, as you build full pressure into this thing, right? So that's what helps cook the food in a lot less time, is because it's like a super pressure cooker. So because it was a difficult top to get on and off, I think that might have caused some people to be like, no, I'm not going to hassle with it because I don't know how to get this lid off. And the lid is a little heavier. So, and then it's like, well, where do you set the lid down when you do finally get it off in order to be able to serve yourself some chili? So it's like that whole situation, that whole setup scenario, I feel really hurt me. And then there's the last final thing is there's a little bit of suspicion in my mind that my pot, my food, my chili got placed in the fridge long before the evening shift was done and out of there. That my chili was in the fridge while other people's chilies were being eaten. That somebody did that. That somebody sabotaged me. I have a little bit of suspicion because it blows my mind. And the reason why is because, one, mine was the only one that was done to. Mine was the only one out of 4 chilies. And it's not like anybody made like an army's worth of chilies. The all 4 pots of chili together was enough for 30 people to have, a good sized bowl, and people were given little cups. So there was no reason why 80 people would have not eaten every bit of chili that there was, because especially night shifts. Our night shift people, I feel like they don't work; they just eat and snack and bullshit with each other. They don't. There's always freight. There's always stuff that did not get done by overnight in the morning that me and my other morning shift employees are having to take care of. So I know that they stuff their damn faces at night. And there's other signs that prove that as well. It's interesting to see employee work dynamics at a retail store that has like an overnight freight crew like that. But yeah, so I very, very much suspect that mine got sabotaged. But altogether, realizing my failures, and learning from what I did wrong and what I could have done better for the next time, for the next competition. Because yeah, I had a lot of fun. At the end of it, I had a lot of fun. I liked cooking it. I liked the challenge. Again, this was my very first time making chili, so I've learned so much in just doing this my very first time. And I probably was in over my head a little bit trying to do this my first time in entering a competition. But I love it. I think it's awesome. And I don't like chili. But so, yeah. I can make improvements next time. I can do a couple things a little different. And definitely do a much better... Next time I'm bringing my own damn table. I'm going to have some badass signs. Maybe some party poppers. You know, bring some fireworks. No. And maybe go back every couple hours and pop into a store and promote it. Maybe that'll help too. Because it's all about a good sales pitch and a solid presentation, right? But yeah, so I definitely, it's a really good chili. But I learned a lot. And I had a lot of fun doing it. So fantastic learning experience. And I will say that all the ingredients were spot on. Like I wouldn't change anything with the ingredients. The only thing I would personally do differently is maybe add just a little bit more tomato paste, because it was kind of obvious that I put some barbecue sauce and it was more barbecue-y, and not quite as much tomato as a lot of people are more comfortable and used to. Even though I prefer the barbecue flavor, that's not what many other people are used to. So I would do that. I would make that subtle slight change. But yeah, definitely presentation is going to be the key, I think, next time, and making sure that, and then always going back and checking on it. And then obviously the beans. Next time I'm just going to use canned beans, so I don't have to worry about the issue of are the beans fully cooked. Yeah, I don't want to deal with that issue again. So I have no idea how much difference it makes using canned versus using dried, starting with dried and going through that process with the dried. But I would think that overall it's just not quite worth it and not making that big of a difference. So I'm going back on the side because it's halftime with the football game. I'm going to finish my awesome chili that I love, and then watch the rest of my football game. Go Bulldogs, right? Yeah, they're playing Vanderbilt, and they're beating their socks off. But yeah, so cheers. Best of luck to anybody trying to make chili for the first time. Don't be afraid. Have fun with it. That's the key, is just to have fun. So maybe next time I'll win the $100. I'm out. Peace.